Good afternoon, lovely friends. Long time no speak. How are you all? I hope you're all well. Oh gosh, now I think it's been about a week or so since I put a video out, and actually that video had been filmed the week before. So it's a good couple of weeks, I think, since I picked the camera up. Just been a lot going on. Quite a lot of backwards and forwards to my great aunt who's been poorly. Ooh, more about visiting with her later. Yes, I am going to touch on that subject today. Also with my own health, which I'm not going to go on about because I don't want people sending me nasty messages, which is what I got last time. But, so all I'll say is I'm adjusting. My energy levels are rubbish, absolutely rubbish. So yeah, I'm just having to sort of rejig how I do things and make sure I set aside time for doing nothing, because that's all I'm capable of. Yes, actually there've been a couple of times. I'll talk about that now. Or will I talk about it later? I'll talk about it now and later. I had 2 days in bed this week, which is unheard of for me. One, because of a migraine, and one because I just couldn't get out of bed. And very unusually for me, I started to read and I thought, I didn't have the energy. So I brought the computer to the bed, my laptop, and I watched a load of videos about Dick Proenneke. He was the guy I was mentioning a few videos back, the Alaskan wilderness guy, and they're just so lovely to watch because they're just so quiet and restful, and there's the beautiful, beautiful scenery, gorgeous. Anyway, yes, so haven't made a video for ages, but also I've been quite quiet online. Again, that's touching slightly on the elephant in the room subject. That's just a sort of a mental health thing more than anything. But again, not the energy. Anyway, so the bottom line is, I now I've got a stack of messages and emails from you guys to respond to, and I'm really sorry it's taken me so long. I will get round to them, I promise. I always do. You know by now, I always answer everyone individually. I will do. It's going to take a little while. So, in the meantime, quick slug of water. In the meantime, I've got my little tray of props to remind me what I want to talk about today. First of all, my post bag. Oh, my post bag has been so glorious these last 2 weeks. Yes, I've got a lot of post bag to catch up on, but I do want to say some thank yous this morning. So this was Amanda. Was it? No, Anya, I beg your pardon. Anya, beautiful card. You see that? As soon as I opened the envelope, I knew this is the garden at Giverny, Monet's garden at Giverny. Thank you so much for that. Thank you, beautiful. A gorgeous card from, I think this was Maud. Look at this, isn't that gosh? Look at the colour in it. Beautiful. I love these sort of pinks and purples and blues. Now, what I don't know. This looks like one of those cards. There was a big kind of trend for it a few years ago. You don't see it so much now, of adult colouring books. Do you remember when that was all the kind of rage? This kind of mindful colouring in. I was given a really lovely one it might be 3 Christmases ago now, given to me by Amy. Thank you, Amy. And it was all illustrations of scenes of Shakespeare. So she sent me that and some colouring pens, beautiful, beautiful quality colouring pens. I think Maud has coloured that herself. And if you have Maud, Well done. You haven't gone outside the lines at all. These colouring books are so funny because they're supposed to sort of slow us down and chill us out. But all I found was, oh, I've gone over the line. Or, you know, I picked slightly the wrong colour, or I got stressed doing my colouring. I'm only joking. Anyway, thank you. That's really lovely. And what I love about cards like this is it's just sent to say, found your channel, I like your channel. It's just someone saying hi, basically. Good old-fashioned hello on a card. Thank you. Oh, now this one. Look at this again. Beautiful card. I don't know how much it's going to pick up. If I kind of move it slightly, oops, you may see from shadows. I don't know if you're going to. Can you see it slightly three-dimensional? It's all paper. This is all. It's all the leaves and the petals are individual pieces of paper stuck on. So pretty. This is from Sandy. Now, Sandy, you're very naughty, but I love you. I'd mentioned, I don't know when, at some point, I'd mentioned about my, I just fancied suddenly a mug of hot chocolate. It might have been in the shed one day, on a chilly day. Anyway, Sandy has sent me a box of these. So I guess if you live in America, you'll recognise these come from America, which is naughty. But it's a sort of an instant hot chocolate mix. So it's just a powder, you add hot water. So it's great for the allotment because I can boil a kettle at the allotment. But oh my goodness, they're blooming gorgeous. So there are 160 calories in each one. I don't normally bother and worry about calories, as you can tell. But there was a day I had 3 of these in one day, and I was like, Vivi, stop it. You have to ration yourself. So I'm not allowed more than 1 a day. They're so gorgeous. Oh, excuse me, itchy schnozzle. This is fantastic. So I had another really beautiful card. Oh, there's some beautiful, amazing cards around. Gorgeous. And who doesn't love, in the morning, receiving the mail and it's not brown envelopes, because we know what a brown envelope means, don't we? This has come from Louise. Now, Louise got in touch with me about 2 weeks ago. Oh, I think it's longer ago than that, isn't it, Louise? Anyway, thank you, because Louise bought herself some coco de pampol seeds. Wait for it. They arrived and there was way more than she needed. So she sent me, you see, I look like I'm a dealer. Ooh, little baggies. She sent me, I think there are either 8 or 9, they're over on my desk, 8 or 9 baggies, each with 10 coco de pampol seeds in. So I'm going to get those into my shop so that those of you who missed out on the first lot will have a chance. Now, I'm not going to do them in pretty packets. I don't really have the time and energy for making the packets at the moment. So there'll be no charge other than the postage charge. The postage is a flat rate of £3. That's more than the postage is probably going to cost, but in terms of the time, addressing envelopes, all that. So I know that seems quite a lot for a little thing of seeds, but my dog did a big rumble. But that's how it is. So 10 seeds doesn't seem like many, does it? But if you remember, when I had my first seeds, I had 8. 8 seeds is all I had. 8 plants came up, 6 plants I harvested from and scoffed. Oh my goodness, they were gorgeous. And 2 plants I set aside just for seed saving. And those 2 plants gave me enough seed for me to, I think, the next year I must have sowed about 50 or 60 plants, because that's kind of how many I sow each year, grow each year. So it doesn't seem a lot, but it's certainly enough to get you going, both to eat a few this year, but to start your own seed supply. Yay! So thank you ever so much, Louise. It's great to be able to spread the cocoa love. Now, speaking of love, I loved this. What on earth is this? Let me fish out the letter. So again, if you remember a couple of weeks ago when I was talking about what I'm going to sew in March, better get on with it, hadn't I? What is the date? It's the 15th. I remember that only because this Friday was a Friday the 13th. I love Friday the 13th. Yeah, so I was mentioning in that video, I was talking a little bit about the bees and saying at some point I need to give my bee houses a clean. Look what's come in the post. They're so little, can you make them out? These are, remember I was talking about these brushes that are being sold for cleaning reusable straws? And I thought they might actually help for cleaning out my bee houses. Fantastic! And they have come from Aaron and Logan. Hi chaps! Now Aaron and Logan are, I think they're my youngest viewers. They're both under 10. I love you boys. And I think Aaron is the one in charge of writing the letter. Thank you. So you got a little letter. But what I really loved, boys, was your picture of the garden at the bottom. Is that going to pick up? So here we've got a bed of potatoes. And then next to it a bed of parsnips. And I think, is that a couple of calendula between the parsnips like I do? And then at the end, there's some crocus coming. And the way you guys have drawn the crocus is brilliant because you've got those lovely sort of little spiky leaves that come first. So thank you very much to Aaron and Logan, not just for my bee house bottle brush cleaners, but for your lovely, lovely letter and your beautiful drawing of a garden. Is it your garden or is it my garden? It's both of our gardens. So I thank you very much for that. Now, in other news, yes, put this here as a little visual reminder. This is my big thank you to Gabby, who sent me the most gorgeous food parcel. And it included, this is the second one, I haven't had it yet, some avocados, which is really great because at the moment with this high dose vitamin D, I have it twice a week. And on those days, I need to have a higher fat diet, pardon me, just to help with absorption. Now, don't worry, I'm not one of these people who's fat phobic at all. I love my fats. But when I'm trying to have a lot of fat on those days, I'm trying to make sure it's from that family of unsaturated fats. So lots of nuts and seeds, avocado and lashings of olive oil with everything. Yum, yum, yum. It's not difficult, is it? So thank you. And on the subject of Gabby, on my last video, when I was putting up bits and pieces on the fence, she was asking me about my screwdriver. Hang on, let me just put this tray down. Oopla. So, now this one I've only had for about 5 years, but the one I've got at the shed is just the same, it's exactly the same make. I've had it for about 20 years. I know it's about that long. Actually, no, I'm lying. 2003 I moved here. So I've had it about 16, 17 years. I bought it when I moved into this place. The reason I like it is because it's got 6 different heads, so for different screw types, all contained in the handle. And then it comes in a little, sort of a clip-on thing with 4 extra heads. So the reason I liked it and decided to buy it is because it's really compact, everything's kept together, and for small home living, we're always looking for sort of compact versions of things. So the reason I've got a second one was because I was continually taking the other one backwards and forwards to the allotment to do things with, and I thought, do you know what? Just have one at the shed and one at home. I don't normally duplicate on things, but in this instance I did. So, Gabby was asking me where I got it, so I thought the easiest thing to do, rather than trying to, she was saying, is there a model number, and I was looking, no information. So I thought the easiest thing to do, I went and looked on Amazon, found the link for it and sent the link to her. The link, when I looked on the link, I discovered something about this screwdriver that I hadn't known for those previous 16 years or so. Now, I don't know if you remember when I was doing I think it was the patchwork video, I discovered that there was a pause button on my washing machine. I don't know how I hadn't known it was there all along, but I was thrilled to discover the fact that I can put my washing machine on pause so that, for example, if it's at a particularly noisy cycle and I want to do some filming, I can press pause, do my bit of filming, finish my filming, put the washing machine back on. Revelation about this. So like I said, this little thing comes with 10 different heads. 6 of them are contained, and you see all the different heads in here. 6 of them are contained in there, and 4 of them were on this little tray thing that came with it. And I always thought I was a bit annoying and cumbersome, sort of keeping it together. Those 4 other heads don't use too often, but I still don't want to lose them. I know that some of you are already, you've beaten me to it, haven't you? You know what I'm going to say. What I didn't know is, look, the very end of the handle unscrews. It's like magic. And ta-da! Look, it's a holder for the other heads. So that little plasticky tray bit that was holding these and I had to keep with it, I've been able to, actually it wasn't a recyclable bit of plastic, unfortunately, but I've been able to get rid of it. So there we go. So thank you, Gabby, for asking what my screwdriver was and me ending up having to look at the link and then seeing pictures of that bit online. 16 years it took me to discover that. Oh my goodness. Right, I need to have a quick blow of my nose. Not because I'm ill, just because of my continual post-nasal drip. And you may see, I've swapped to paper for now. And I am going to talk about COVID-19. Oh, you really are mean. Yeah, there's so much Come On Eileen going around, isn't there? Loo roll, loo roll, loo roll, loo roller. I'm going to get some loo roll today. I am going to talk about it a little bit just because it's everywhere. I don't mean like the virus, I mean talk about the virus is everywhere. And it is having some impact on our lives, so I'm not going to ignore it, but I am going to try to talk about it in a non-scary, non-panicky, non-inflammatory way, shall we say. So I should sort of précis this in a way by saying one of the things for me this week that I was kind of hinting at right at the beginning of this video about being online less. I've definitely been online less this week. That is partly a combination of not feeling great, but also just because I don't want to see all the negative crap that's going around to do with COVID-19. So I want to address that today, like I say, in a more positive way. And the great thing about social media, it is a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful tool. Of course, it has its downsides. You know, it's like anything in life, isn't it? So, for instance, when I make my videos, for the most part, I get overwhelmingly positive, wonderful, embracing, encouraging comments, and I love that, and I love the fact that we interact with each other, but that you also interact with each other within comments too. So overwhelmingly it's really positive. There's always going to be a few numbnuts out there who they just want to spoil the party a bit by writing something that's a bit mean, and I don't even think of them as trolls. They're just, you know, they have a difference of opinion And of course, that's perfectly okay. But it's how you express yourself when you have a different opinion. You're not, my opinion is not right. Your opinion is not right in so much as it's not right or wrong. It's just your opinion. And yes, let's express our opinions, but let's do it in a kind way. Let's not use inflammatory words. Let's not use divisive words. Just kind of keep it all chilled and nice. So, right. Now, I should also praise everything by saying I am trying to be light-hearted about things, but that doesn't mean that, firstly, I don't, take this situation seriously, and it also doesn't mean that I'm not upset for the people who are being affected in terms of losing relatives or, people whose lives have been thrown upside down by having to, organise childcare, elderly relative care. I'm not making light of any of that. And you all know me well enough, those of you who've been watching me for a while, you all know me well enough to know that compassion runs through my veins. So I do have compassion for those people. I also have a healthy dose of cynicism and sick humour, like any nurse or healthcare worker does. Like most Brits, I think we've got a warped sense of humour in Britain. I'm sure we have. We definitely have. So first things first. Oh my goodness. Wash your hands, you dirty blighters. It's sort of almost amusing me now that we're having to tell people to wash their hands. Weren't people washing their hands before? Ew, that's vile. Yuck, yuck, yuck. So yeah, we just keep having to... The best thing you can do for yourself and your family at the moment is just wash your hands. When you change environment, wash your hands. So if you get off the bus or train, wash your hands. If you're going into your office, wash your hands. If you're leaving your office to go to the canteen, wash your hands. If you're coming in from outside, wash your hands. But that's what we all do all the time, isn't it? Apparently not. When I was a student nurse, oh, just to say, by the way, I touch my face a lot. One of my little side effects at the moment is my skin is awful and it's just driving me mad with itchiness. But I will say this. One, my hands are clean. Look, clean hands. But also my face is clean. Because I'm washing my face as well as my hands because I know that I'm a face toucher. Anyway, yes, I did a paper about... I can't remember what the title was, but we were all having to write a paper about infection control. And, most of us were talking about hand washing and hand hygiene. And I found, I was doing my research and I found a paper, and in it they had swabbed, now I can't remember whether it was in London or Manchester, it's one of the two, but they'd swabbed surfaces on buses. 60% of the swabs, or what was on the swabs, was fecal matter. That's poo. That's poo in layperson's terms. Oh my God, that means people are wiping their bum-bums and not washing. Ew. So listen, you know what? A good thing may come out of this virus in that people who previously didn't wash their hands, dirty buggers, hopefully now people will be in the habit of washing hands, and actually all sorts of other viruses and bacterial infections, the rates of those hopefully will go down as folk get more into their basic hygiene. It's crazy, isn't it? Absolutely crazy. Now the other thing with this virus is we're being told don't touch. No touching. No touch. You two in the back row there, stop touching. Now this is a really hard one for me because I am a hugger. Whoa. I love long, hard, squashy hugs. I'm also a kisser. I love smothering my friends' faces in kisses. I know there are some of you right now probably thinking, oh no, because you're not a hugger. I am. I'm a hugger. So to not be able to hug folk, I'm finding that really hard, frankly, and to not be able to kiss, really hard. So, what are the alternatives when we are meeting and greeting our friends, family, what have you? So a few suggestions are we do a toe tap, so we tap our toes, or the ankle tap. I can't demonstrate because my feet are down there. What I would suggest is toe tapping and ankle tapping should be left for those who don't have arthritis in their knees. I tried it the other day, nearly fell over, could have broken my wrist again. So I'm not going to be doing toe tapping or ankle tapping. Instead, I am going to be following something that I saw on social media a few days ago. This is why I love social media, because it has good stuff on there too. The meeting and greeting of bowing and curtsying. I love it. But what I really love about this is it's not gender specific. It's not that men do the bowing and that girls do the curtsying. There's a rule to it. Whoever bows first, the other person then has to curtsy. So, if I'm walking down the street and I see one of my male friends, it's tickling me pink to get the bow in first so that the guy has to do the curtsy. I'm making a game of it. I'm making a game of it and I'm making fun of it because, you know, what else are you going to do when things are a bit rubbish? I've made a little list. I'm just going to check it and check it twice because Santa does know if I've been naughty or nice. Yeah, so this whole no touch thing, social distancing, and again, this is where social media is great, isn't it? I have friends who live far, far away from me, some of them overseas, some of them in the UK, but way up north, and Skype, Messenger, so I mostly use Messenger on Facebook, video, FaceTime with people, and I think Messenger, I'm not sure if Skype do it, I'm not sure how to do it even because I'm techie rubbish, but I think now you can do multi-people, so yeah, I'm not sure how it works, but you can have a multi-person video chat. So you can have a little party, but without having to all be in the same space as each other. And this would be great, especially if, you know, if you are isolating because you're not feeling too great, or for our lovely friends in Italy and France and Spain who have lockdown, which means that other than going to work or the shops, they can't go out. Brilliant. Let's have FaceTime parties. Great. And the great thing about that, you can get on with something else at the same time. So when I'm having FaceTime with my friends, quite often I'll be ironing or cooking or sewing at the same time. And it's almost like having the person in the room with you. Love it. And on that, oh yeah, I'll come to that in a sec. So on that note of the really positive stuff of social media, I'm sure many of you have seen in the last few days the balcony singing in Italy and now in Spain. I'm loving it. You know, I've actually found it really quite moving seeing, I'm going to get stupidly weepy, but seeing these neighbours connecting with each other across streets, across courtyards, across squares, coming out and singing, and it just, I think the reason for me I find it so beautiful is it's such a communal thing to do when communities are being separated. So lovely, so lovely. And it struck me that even for, you know, some of the older inhabitants who are maybe not going out at all for work or shopping or anything, who are completely housebound, with their windows open, they can hear life all around them. They can hear their whole community being alive, and it's so beautiful. Oh, I told you I'd get emotional. And then yesterday, I saw in Spain, there was a really beautiful video clip of in the evening, and it was kind of organised, and I guess it had been organised by social media, again, that's why it's good, folk came out into their balconies and they clapped and cheered for 5 minutes solid to show their thanks and appreciation of the healthcare workers, because let's not forget, while all this is going on, these people at the front line who are looking after us, they're exposing themselves every single day in order to look after us. Amazing. Oh my goodness. Do you know what it is? I get emotional about beautiful things, and that to me, these communities who are being kept apart are finding a way to be together. It's gorgeous. So, yeah, we're not being kept apart at the moment. Obviously, I work from home mostly when I am working, and you know, I'm by that I am socially distancing myself a bit, and often when I'm in the garden, there's no one else around, or there's someone else around, but they're on their plot and we're chatting at a distance. And I'm obviously I'm not ill, but I am mindful of the fact that because I'm backwards and forwards to my great aunt, who is old, you know, they're talking about over 60s or over 65s, over 70s. She's going to be 100 in a few weeks. Oh God, I'm so itchy today, sorry. She's going to be 100 in a few weeks. Amazing. So look, she's old, she's ill at the moment anyway. So the last thing I want to do is pick it up from someone else, not realise I've got it, if you know, very mild symptoms, and be taking it to her. But I also really, really don't want to be taking it and passing it on to her carers, because of course her carers are caring for a lot of old people in that area. So yeah, I'm not panicking, I'm not being over the top, I'm just being a little bit careful and a little bit mindful, just thinking about my interactions with other people and how it could possibly impact on them. So final word on that subject, and then we're moving on, is to say, look, if you do end up having to self-isolate, or if we go the way of our brothers and sisters in Italy and Spain and France, and we, you know, have some sort of lockdown and we're kept at home for whatever reason, let's all make the most of it. Let's have, you know, let's have all those projects out of the cupboard which we've not attended to for months or years, like our patchworks. Let's get them out, let's get them finished. Let's use that time to enjoy quietness, to reconnect with solitude and our own, you know, our own spaces. I'll find that easier than other people because I like being on my own. If you don't like being on your own, do, as I suggested, have Skype parties. But yeah, let's make the most of it. Let's get into the kitchen and invent recipes. Let's look in our freezers at all our gorgeous stored produce from last year and see if we can make something amazing. And that's the other thing, isn't it? Keep eating well, keep eating healthily, have your fruit and veg and all your gorgeousness from your freezer. Basically, it might be that we all end up having a staycation. Let's make the most of it. Let's have some fun with it. Let's go through our whole back catalogue of albums and listen to an album a day, or a few albums. Let's remember those old tunes we loved in the 80s. Let's have discos in our houses, solo discos, but we can sort of have Skypey solo discos with our mates. There's always a way around it. And I just want to say, as a last note in terms of mental health, so one of the reasons I wanted to talk about any of this today at all was because I've had tons and tons and tons of messages and emails from you guys asking me my opinions about things. I'm not going to give you my opinion on politics and how things are being handled. This isn't the place for it. I don't want to open up discussions. I don't want to talk about science of any of it. I know what I think. I know where I get my information from. That's it. But what is really clear is there are a lot of folk who are really, really worried, like you might say overly worried, getting into a proper tizzy about things. And to a degree, getting worried about things over which we have no control. So my advice, and this is advice to myself too, which I've done to a large extent this week, is turn the news off, turn the social media off, apart from when you choose, for example, don't look at general Facebook feeds, because they are full of everybody with their sort of panic stories, and it's just not helpful to anyone. So if you belong to groups where talk about this has been banned, great, carry on talking in your groups about gardening, about knitting, crochet, sewing, art, whatever it is you do that fulfills you and makes you happy. Use it to connect with friends. Maybe some of your friends don't know about the messenger part on Facebook, about being able to do that face-to-face video calling. Let them know. Make an appointment with your friend to have a video chat. Yay! But the rest of it, that continuous feed we're getting at the moment, turn it off. It's not going to inform you. In fact, probably most of it will misinform you. It's not going to inform you. It's going to get into your head and just stir you up to panic level. And the other thing I'd suggest is, in terms of, say, watching the news or keeping abreast of the situation, if you feel you need to do that, limit your time. So maybe in the morning, check on the BBC News website or whatever it is, give yourself 5 minutes to read the latest information and then turn it off. Get on with your life, put that aside. Honestly, I think, I suppose one of the things I've mostly been talking about today is the good and bad, the yin and yang, the Jekyll and Hyde of social media. It is a fantastic tool and it can really connect us, that's brilliant. But it's also full of amateur numpties spreading misinformation, spreading panic. Let's gone. That bit's gone. We'll focus on the positive stuff, like our beautiful Italian friends singing on their balconies. Oh, and I want to say especially good friend Suzanne in northern Italy. I hope you guys are okay. And I hope you're entertaining yourselves. Yay! Right, well, I was going to talk about... Oh, look at the time. Done it again. I was going to talk about gardening today, but I think I'm running out of time. Just to say very quickly, we're still having slightly rubbishy weather, a bit unpredictable weather. And at the moment, I've got like 2 care days per week, which is sort of fixed days. Sod's law that they're the nice days. And then when I've got time for the garden, it's a bit... Look, I think we're all in the same boat this year, at least in the UK and sort of in Western Europe, that we've had so much rain. I think we all feel behind. So you know what? Let's just make that decision today to stop worrying about being behind in the garden. What will be, will be. There's still loads of time to get things done. Loads of time. So one of the things I am going to do today is get on with my indoor sewings. I'll put that in a separate video. And hopefully this week get back to the garden. I sort of made a little list of all the jobs I want to do, and I've looked through the list at what jobs I think, oh, that'll be a nice job to do. That's not such a nice job to do. I'm going to start with the nice jobs. I'm going to treat myself. Yes, stuff the horrible rubbishy jobs. Let's do the nice ones. Definitely. So, okay, I'm going to wrap it up. And I always say at the end of my videos, take care of yourself and take care of each other. I always mean that. Even if I say it every time, I mean it. Take care of yourself, take care of each other. And we'll just, we'll just ride it out, and we'll practice our bowing and our curtsying, and we'll see where it takes us. So for now, it's cheerio from me. I'm going to go and, yeah, do some seed sowing, and then I think I'm going to do something like, I'm going to pull that patchwork out of the cupboard and maybe do a bit of patching this afternoon. Keep myself happy. Please stay happy as well. See you all again soon. I hope sooner than the last time I saw you. Bye for now.